Folks, welcome to the show. I'm Craig Shelton. This is The Cut right here on UTN. My man Fred, with Fred Fowler from ESPN Radio and ESPN 97.5 right here in Houston. Angela Lawford from HMW, Richard Walker from HMW, and we have a itsy bitsy little bitty small guest later on the show. You'll be happy to meet, and we'll introduce that person to you. As I said, welcome to the show. We are the HMW Creeps. Get ready for Creep Radio. You might want to get used to that hashtag going around Twitter. We're going to be launching an online radio broadcast here sometime soon. And as soon as we get that stuff a little bit more locked in on a launch date, we'll be giving you that information. You can go to the blog and check us out at HoustonMediaWatch.com. Throughout the night, you will see the various Twitter handles and Facebook handles for the guys on the set. And I'll get it started by saying good evening. How's everybody tonight?
What's up? How's it going?
Normally these guys are not this quiet. I guarantee you by the time it's all said and done, there'll be a lot of noise on this set. I mean, how can we avoid it? We have a resident Cowboy fan on the set.
A hero.
Face to face. Damn hero. Wow. If he's a hero, so is OJ. I tell you what, let's get going with the Texans. The Texans coming off a very disappointing loss to the Baltimore Ravens. That is more disappointing to some folks than others. Now, by the time you see this show, at the time this show was taped, we were a day out from the Texans meeting with the Seattle Seahawks right here in Reliance Stadium. And I don't know, people may be more pissed off than they were the day we taped this show than they were after tomorrow's outcome, which obviously we don't know what it is at this point. But I would imagine, I'll tell you what, I'll do this. I'm going to say that the Texans beat the Seattle Seahawks. They refused to allow Seattle to walk in on their yard and PP on a tree. I just can't believe the Texans would allow Seattle to do that. Now, something just slapped me in the back of the head, and I think it was something that was saying to me, Craig, you're crazy, you're ridiculous. I saw it on Richard Walker's face. Mm-hmm. The Texans are going to lose in Reliance Stadium, and by the time this show is aired, the Texans will have 2 losses on their record and will be on their way to visit the San Francisco 49ers on the West Coast. And Richard Walker would tell you they're headed for their 3rd loss in a row. Is that correct, Cowboy fan?
That is absolutely correct, sir.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you?
What?
You're too predictable.
What?
You're like one of Fred's old wives or something. Man. You're just too predictable.
Which one?
That'll be the half.
Look, I do want to get serious in regard to what the Texans are doing with their record. So I'm going to throw this out there, and we want to talk about the Texans' road to 9-7. That's our theme today. Is how the Texans can find themselves at 9-7. They got things started early in the season. Game 1 on the road, Monday Night Football, a game that people just said the Chargers doesn't have a chance. There's just no way. The Texans are going to just beat them by 30. And all along, I was thinking to myself, interesting, a team with a new coach and a team that everybody's saying doesn't have a chance in a league where everybody has a chance every week. Right. This professional league has more parity than any other professional league. Mm-hmm. But these guys didn't have a chance to even look good. That's more than win. They didn't even have a chance to look good against the Texans because even though they were at home on Monday Night Football to start the year, You got a Hall of Famer pass rush, future Hall of Famer pass rusher with something to prove. Start his first game with a new team. There was just no reason to even think that they would look good against the Texans. Which meant when they did look good against the Texans, Fred, the Texans just were underachieving. They weren't playing up to expectation. I think our media predictions are a little bit ridiculous at times. I think we misrepresent and we do a disjustice to the fan base.
Right.
Fred?
There's some of that, but I want to correct one thing. You said that everybody has a chance. Jacksonville has no chance. Okay, so
You might have a point there.
Yeah.
You might have a little point there.
But as far as the Texans are concerned, it's not just us predicting it. It's Las Vegas. They haven't covered the spread yet in a single game, which ought to tell you something. They know what they're doing out there. We may not know what we're talking about, but they know what they're doing, so they think they're better than this. The problem is with this team so far, all the things that we thought would help them be better on offense, which is where they really needed to improve from last year,
Yep.
haven't really worked. How often do you see Greg Jones on the field? That's a guy we thought was going to help the running game, and when he's
Oh,
out
you mean
there,
like last year when we thought a certain guy who had now catches passes for Philadelphia was going to be this new version of the NFL tight end, and Kubiak was going to do so many things with that guy.
yeah, how did that work out?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought we all thought the running game would be better because you get a real legitimate blocking fullback. Well, he's been useless. They've got him split out at wide receiver half the time, which makes no sense to me. And the offensive line's been a wreck. So you take all that, you're losing possessions, you're not able to control the clock, and I think they've got some real issues on offense beyond the quarterback, which
A
I'm sure
pick
we'll talk
six
about.
here, a pick six there.
And, well, that's him his whole
Pure
career.
pick.
He makes one mistake
Let
a
me
game.
finish this, Fred. They
One
are
mistake.
pig everywhere. Pig. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, he's only had 4. Come on, it's been 4 in 3 games. But the guy makes one mistake a game where you just
We're actually.
what the hell?
We're actually. Be honest with you, we 6 minutes or so into the show, and we haven't went out on a sharp attack yet. So we're doing pretty good, to be honest with you. Angelo Lawford. When I talk about the Texans' road to 9-7, and I broke it down, guys, into 3 different phases of the season. Well, 3 different stretches of games. The first stretch is this first 5-game stretch of the season, and obviously, as we talked about, the San Diego, even though it was a win to some folks, it was a debacle. And then you talk about Tennessee, that win at home, folks didn't find that win to be aesthetically pleasing either. So you talk about that. Then you fall on your face when you go see Baltimore. Now you get Seahawks coming into town, and then of course you get the 49ers the following week out on the West Coast. Angelo, my scenario of the Texans having 2 wins when this is all said and done, and I said 3-2, but 2-3. The Texans having those 2 wins, and then going on a 3-game losing streak. You say that's what?
I think that's accurate. Considering how Seattle's playing right now, and then with San Francisco with something to prove, since the start of their season hasn't gone according to plan, according to media prediction.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're in for a long. And when you look at their schedule, like throughout the whole 16-game course, just considering how they're playing now, there's not a lot of wins that you just pencil in just because you think that they're going to be the favorite, or it's trying times for them right now. So I agree with the assessment of 2-3, to be honest.
Richard, now for this to turn around, like I said, we're taping this show the Saturday before the Texans take on Seattle in Reliant. So when this show first airs on Wednesday, for it to have been a Texans win, what happened? What happened that we didn't foresee happening?
Well, first and foremost, the turnovers have to absolutely stop. They have to have very little, if not 0 turnovers. And we all know that Seattle's the type of team that they thrive on other teams turning over the ball. They create turnovers. They have big physical corners that can shut down your passing game, make you one-dimensional. Those are the type of things that they have to overcome. They have to find a way to get Arian Foster to run the football, control the clock, not turn the ball over. Not saying that Schaub is going to have a great game against him, which I highly doubt, given the fact that you're going against the best secondary in the NFL. But he at least has to be effective, and he has to be efficient. and they had to move the chains against the Seahawks. Good luck with that.
I don't buy into the assumption by most because of the player that's secondary and Richard Sherman, and they are very, very good. I'm not doubting that. But throwing the football in the NFL, well, maybe I should look at it from this approach. Defending the pass in the NFL, kind of the advantage goes to the offense. The league
No
has
doubt. That's what they
legislated
want.
itself into a type of league that's pro offense.
Mm-hmm. They want higher.
You can't
scoring
touch quarterbacks, and you can barely touch receivers nowadays.
Mhm.
I liken it kind of to pitching in baseball. The pitcher, I don't care how bad he is, technically speaking, he pretty much is always at an advantage because success in Major League Baseball is being able to
300
achieve 30% success rate when it comes to being a batter, a hitter.
Right.
And I don't know, you know, hey, we have a guy in HMW who's a math guy, Lamont, you know, probably a better deal for him to figure out the numbers and how they correspond. But I think you guys get the analogy. I just think that the one thing we do know that Gary Kubiak, one of the things we know that he does well is he does have a good system. Now, he's too conservative within how he runs the system, but it is a good system, and that's why you find yourself asking all the time, how could Andre Johnson be that wide open? He's Andre Johnson. Well, he's that wide open, but Gary Kubiak is very good at sitting down and scheming up plays, in particular pass patterns, that work well to get receivers open. But he's so conservative at game time in which pass routes he will use that he feel comfortable with this particular quarterback. I just think that if you push the ball and you force the ball and you throw over the top against Sherman and those guys, one thing about a secondary where you're going to see confident players, which means you got a confident coaching staff and defensive coordinators that's calling defensive calls, you're not going to see them probably sitting back in a whole lot of cover two coverage. You're probably going to get your
They can get right
opportunities
up on
with
it.
some single high coverage.
Yep.
Throw the damn ball down the field. And I'm trying to say it. That's nothing new.
Do you think
Folks
he
say
has
this
the
all the
confidence
time.
to do that though? That's the thing.
What? That's what I'm saying. I mean, I just believe that if you believe in the averages and the numbers and the percentages, it's in favor of the receiver.
Mhm.
Now, how much do those percentages go up when you throw into a guy like Andre Johnson and this rookie Nuke? So I just think the Texans have a chance to not do what they're expected to do, and I think that's their best option in taking the air out of this team. You take the air out of this team early and get the fan base behind them in Reliance Stadium. We know about Seattle Stadium, but they make some noise, folks, in Reliance Stadium as well. That's segment one. This is The Cut. We'll be right back after this.